What's good, everybody? It's your boy 3 here today with our Week 5 team against Bensey. Now, Bensey's roster is stacked to the top of top-tier threats in this league, such as Weavile, Iron Hands, and Blacephalon, as well as a defensive core centered around Iron Treads, Tapu Fini, and Mega Venusaur, which is proven to be one of the best defensive mons in this league. Now, this matchup is less than ideal. Bensey's roster is almost perfectly equipped to check or counter most of my Pokemon. Weavile punishes bringing way too many ice weaknesses, which my team commonly has, while Blacephalon threatens a 2-hit KO with Shadow Ball and or Fire Blast on anybody on my roster not named Heatran. Mega Venusaur walls or checks most of my physical attackers while also getting the coverage to hit my special attackers. Iron Treads can clean up webs and hazards while also threatening powerful earthquakes on my 4x weaknesses, and Tapu Fini severely hampers the abilities of my dragons. Now, my strategy going into this week is very simple. Set up and try to hit everything as hard as I can. So I've created a team centered around max HP, Nasty Plot, Darkrai, as well as a max HP 188 defense weakness policy, Latios. These might be some of the most fun sets I've ever built and the most cooking I've done in the kitchen in a long time. With a Darkrai that's bulky enough to set up in the face of anything that isn't named Iron Hands, as well as just enough speed to outspeed a non-scarf, Blacephalon is wicked, as well as this max HP 188 defense Latios that can live a pursuit, plus the incoming ice shard and set up agilities, make weakness policy go off, set up and sweep his team. Surrounded by a max HP, max defense Quaquaval, as well as a defensive Zapdos to spread static paralyzes, a hazard setting Glamora, as well as our tried and true defensive Corsola Galar for our contingency plan. If you're as excited as me to see this team cook, leave a like, comment, and subscribe below, and I'll see you in the games. All right, so we're here for game 1 versus Bensey. Let's start this out. Game 1, we lead Corsola Galar, and this game really taught me in this series that Glamora, hazards, plus keeping the Eviolite on Corsola is really important, as well as keeping my threats, Darkrai and Latios, very healthy. Because this game revealed a lot of the Bensey sets. So I really used that going into the series forward. Endora Araquanid, this is typical things. We bring in our Latios, didn't do much. Like I said, this is a common set, Custap, Araquanid. Iron Treads comes in. We figure out later that this is Scarf. I had to make a call out on it later in the series, but we're just walling it with Corsola G right now, just playing the game. As you can see, nothing that we prepped for was really brought, so that's fantastic. So we're already playing on a back foot, even though this matchup was already horrid for us. So we're kind of playing from 2 steps behind, if that makes any sense. We can skip through a couple of these plays. Like I said, Glamora coming in really showed the value of keeping hazards up, because from what I believe, I don't think his team had any boots. I think he left his sneakers at home on everyone. Glamora always comes in on Umbreon. This thing was an absolute nightmare to break throughout the entire series, really. You see, just calling out regular plays. And here's where I lost. Made a crucial misplay of switching out on this Terrakion instead of staying in. Had to bring it back in. This thing gets a free SD up. Only thing that kills me here is a crit Stone Edge. And let me guess. He misses. I Nightshade. That's a huge misplay on my part. I don't even know why I did that. Yeah, this game one did not go well for me. Nightshaded. I don't even know what I was expecting, to be honest. I kind of have to. Man, I thought maybe I could get some chip on it before I wisp, because I do live the Stone Edge if it doesn't crit, and of course it does crit. And I believe that's the end. Yeah, that is just the end of game one. Terrakion just set up an SD and beat me. So on to game two. This one went a lot smoother. Well, as smooth as you can get with a matchup like this. We get the static proc. I figured out that Zapdos is a great lead for the rest of this series, because Treads always has to come out and is pretty nice into everything besides Terrakion on lead. Umbreon comes in on the Zapdos. We just roost up. Hazards on his side, I was perfectly fine letting Treads knock the Zapdos off and trading that for a static para, mostly because his team doesn't have hazards besides Sticky Web. So I was perfectly fine coming in and letting this knock off my boots in exchange for paralyzing the Treads. Now, just some middle ground here. Again, Glamora always comes out. This was a play. Glamora always comes out on the Umbreon. I expected him to DD right here, expecting me to switch, maybe go into Zapdos. He does DD, and I just raw power gem, getting a lot of chip on this, which was fantastic for me. Goes Zapdos on the EQ, and then force him to outrage, which doesn't kill. We're gonna Volt Switch out and deal with that threat, which was solid playing for me. This is kind of the plays we need to win. Go Quackleval. He gets paired. I assume that wasn't Rapid Spin, but it is rough nonetheless. Venusaur comes out on the Quackleval, always does. No issues there. Lottie comes in on the Venusaur. He has to switch. We don't have nearly enough power to break this with Lottie as it is, with no weakness policy. You've seen our stats. Roost up, get my Zapdos' health back. No problem there. We do get Toxic, which turns out to be pretty big, but I was okay with that, to be completely honest. He's gonna let this Toxic damage chip up. Glamora comes back in. We EP expecting the Iron Treads to come in, or maybe Terrakion to come in, but we Power Gem on the Surf, which could have proven to be a big misplay, but I think I was perfect. I was fine just leaving that there. Custap comes out. We go Corsola Galar on the Endeavor or the Sticky Web, both of which are fine. Surf comes out. Araquanid gone. Sticky Web were a bit annoying, but I think it was more important that we keep hazards up on their side, much more than ridding the hazards on ours. Roost up on the Treads. Heat Wave, he does. That's a misplay by my part. This is where I found out he was Scarf. I didn't think, I knew it had Rapid Spin in the back of my mind, but I had to see it. So he does end up getting his hazards off, which was a huge misplay on my part. Quackleval. Yep. Come back out. Should have CC'd on the turn, made an over prediction, which is fine. It's still recoverable. Latios can still threaten things. We double into Quackleval because he always has to switch. Yep. Protect. And we eventually do get this Iron Treads down. Now it's a 3v5, but this is a horrible 3v5 to be against because two mons of mine are toxic and Latios is really low. There's a lot of like in between plays here. kind of stalling everything out, feeling everything out. And this is where I found my opportunity when the Venusaur came out. I U-turn on the Venusaur and bring out Darkrai. I felt like this was my only chance. I had to force him to switch here, which he does. I get a nasty plot off. I believe I throw off a Sludge Bomb here, get the poison, which I really needed so he can't toxic me. So that was huge on Darkrai's end. Nasty plot again. Got the turns a little bit wrong, but nonetheless, we still got where we were. Sludge Bomb again. We're going to Sludge Bomb, see it does 48. He wishes, and this right here, I do get another nasty plot up on this turn as he protects. And the game is pretty much over from here. He goes Venusaur. I mean, it's just taking too much. 90 from Sludge Bomb. He has no more switches. Terrakion comes in. Corsola just walls this all day, so we're just gonna try to get a juicy burn on it. Yep. But with this thing poisoned and Quackleval's still healthy, not much he can do here. Comes in, it's SDs, but figure out his Sash, which is fantastic scouting. CCs, but again, he can't break Corsola. Not with Eviolite. We didn't have Eviolite last game. Now heading into the game 3, as you can see, this series is already tough, and if I'm making a couple of misplays here and there, it could really sell the game. So I have to be on my best shape if I'm gonna win this series. Like I said, Zapdos was always a clean lead in this series. Not really threatened by much. Volt switch on the treads, but that's fine. Again, we would trade this knockoff for this static para all day, every week. He reveals the Ice Spinner, which does activate my weakness policy. We expected a knockoff here, and we do get the agility up. It's looking shiesty now. The Latios is popping out even with the stuff that wasn't here. But unfortunately, Bensey does bring the double Sash, and he does KO my Latios with Salamence. Double Sash was a bit annoying, but Gamora's Rocky Helmet, so no issues there. We get that Spike up, and we get the T-Spike up as well. Not the T-Spike doesn't really matter because, you know, Venusaur always just comes in. We're just going to try to set up the hazards while we can. This thing, we're okay with sacking this for right now because Treads is gone. It can't spin. We keep these three stacks of spikes up the entire game. So we really came out on a hot start in this game 1. As you see, these spikes putting in work 24%. Now we can really chip at everything here. Terrakion is sashed, so he can't, no more Sash is broken already. Quackleval can come in on this all day. We can keep forcing that Venusaur in if we need to take this hazard damage. Toxic comes out. We're perfectly fine with letting this thing get toxic. Umbreon kind of stalling. Perfectly fine with letting off a CC here. Doesn't get the wish. Doesn't pass a wish. So we U-turn out. Now we get Darkrai back in. Now we can start subbing. Or not subbing, I apologize. We can start nasty plotting up. He makes the same mistake again, going Umbreon on this, knowing full well this can't beat me. I go for the poison so he can't toxic me, and I do get the Synchronize. So now it's looking really bad for him. Because now Darkrai just sets up. Wish comes out, and I'm going to get another nasty play here as he protects. Yep. So now Darkrai is +6 once again, and nothing on this team lives. A Sludge Bomb, 60. Foul play. We're really bulky, so that does absolutely nothing. 12%. He does Endure. Hoping to get the poison here on this Endure. Don't get it. Perfectly fine. He picks up the KO. But as you can see on your screen, the mons he has are just not enough. Corsolas, too much of a threat. I do predict his double right here into Terrakion and get the Wisp out on the Terrakion. It's just the reason I made that play. I think Bensey has to make the double here, but the play for Will-O-Wisp is really easy for me because the Will-O-Wisp also helps Corsola just outstall the Venusaur with Nightshades and the burn damage, especially when his only recovering move is Synthesis. He doesn't have Leech Seed. I can get the Strength Sap off. It does enough, as you'll see going into later this match. But yeah, the game's kind of over from here. He let Terrakion get burned, which was his only way out, but it was a short way. So like I said, we're getting up max hazard. Terrakion can't come in anymore. Just stally gameplay right here. We disable the Sludge Bomb. Can't really break me. We're just going to stall out. Yep, Corsola gets a little bit too low. Bring out Zapdos. We can let off a free Hurricane here. Yep. In the game, I could say for differential, switch Crackle Ball, but perfectly fine. And that will be the series. It was a hard series to play against, especially when, like I said, we were playing on basically 2 steps behind. Because for one, it was already a bad matchup into the Pokemon that we saw and we thought we're going to bring. It's an even worse matchup when you prep for all those mons and none of them come. But we do prevail in week 5. We keep our undefeated streak alive. We sit here at 4-0 in our week 6 matchup against Josh. And I'll see y'all there. Love you guys. Peace.